It's the hottest party of the year, the West Indian American Day Carnival. Now your hosts, Sue Simmons and Maurice Dubois.
Well, hello, everybody. You are looking at a most spectacular chopper view of Eastern Parkway in Brooklyn. It is a sea of colorful costumes and culture and thousands of marchers and dancers, and everybody's here turning out for this massive party. Welcome to the 31st Annual West Indian American Day Carnival. Hello, I am Sue Simmons.
Hello, everybody. I'm Maurice Dubois. You ready to do it again, Sue?
I'm ready to do it again.
Had so much fun last year.
Got to do it twice. New
Let's
York,
get it
New
on.
York.
Everybody is excited about this whole thing, but there's a little bit of a damper on the parade this year because they're talking about a potential thunderstorm watch coming up in another half hour or so. So I don't know how that's going to play out, and I don't know if it's going to damper anybody's spirits.
Rain
but
never hurt anybody. We're not sugar out here.
That's
we
right.
want to take this time to welcome our third co-host here, one world-renowned costume designer, Peter Menshaw, but we refer to him from here on in as Mensch.
Sue.
How you doing, Mensch?
Sue,
Good to see you again
it's
this year.
just wonderful to be with you and Maurice.
it's great to see you. Welcome
the
back.
second year running. I feel like I'm really playing mass. I'm playing commentary mass.
Oh, yes. That's the best kind. No, the party moss is the best.
As you can see behind us, everybody, the big show is already underway. We have got you covered from all kinds of camera angles. One of our favorites is that we've got a big camera that swings onto the scene. We've got special guests coming up. We've got the route live from start to finish. It is loud. We can barely hear anything. And I'll tell you what, if you're watching us on NBC4, you have probably got the very best seat in the house.
Well, before we give you a little perspective, you know, the shot we had here. Now, here we're going to talk to you a little bit about these folks. These are the Border Keats. And they have as their king Martin Luby and Queen Etha Luby.
400 some odd people.
And there are 10 sections in this group, so it's going to take them kind of a while to make their way through. Some of the sections are Radiance, Regency, and Ecstasy. That's just a few of them. The masses range from $85 to $100 or so. And this was done to attract more players. But for a little perspective, we want to give you a map of the parade route. And here we go. Participants start all of this at Utica Avenue. And then they dance their way down Eastern Parkway to the Grand Army Plaza. And that distance is about 13 blocks or so, or 1.5 miles. So there's some long blocks. I thought 20 city blocks was a mile, so these must be some long blocks. We're stationed about halfway through this route at Eastern Parkway and New York Avenue.
And some of the folks are going to be going up and down, so it'll be quite a few miles when it's all over. Peter, let's talk about the costumes. Let's talk about playing mosh. You said you're playing mosh at the beginning.
Well,
what exactly do you mean for folks who don't know?
Once a year, what people do is to transform themselves physically and spiritually. Me, for instance, for the rest of the year, I go around the place with these enormous bat ears. Today, look at how lovely I am. That's just me. No, we just saw, we're now looking at ebony and ivory.
Right.
And that is a transformation, not just of the people, but of the streets of New York. This is not a normal parade. This is not a march. This is not regimented. This is let the spirit be free and all we is one.
Let's talk about the spiritual transformation. What do you mean? What do you do spiritually, Peter? What's the story here?
I mean that since ancient times, this, which we now call Carnival, was really a spring festival and a celebration of the life force. And what better way for human beings to do this than to sing and dance in the streets? Everyday life.
How you doing? My name is Jason Edwards. I'm the director of Kai Soka Moko Jumbies USA Incorporated, and this is Moko Jumbie 101. Moko Jumbie is a culture, it's a way of life. It's something that started in West Africa. The word Jumbie is known for a ghost in the West Indian culture. The word Moko is known for king in the West African culture. So when Moko Jumbie came to Trinidad, they changed it up to become, more of a cultural thing, meaning, more of a celebration and using carnivals and different things like that. Other than saying Moko Jumbie, we also say stilt walker, stilt dancer. Stilt's been around for decades. Like I said, it started in West Africa. They had it as part of their celebratory stuff and culture and things like that. In the 1900s, it came to the West Indies, Trinidad. There's a story behind that too. Folks said the Moko Jumbie literally walked across the ocean to get to Trinidad. That's how the West Indies got the culture of Moko Jumbie. And it kind of died down until the 1990s. That's when it really started picking back up in Trinidad and the other West Indian cultures due to the efforts of two individuals in Trinidad and Tobago, one named Dragon and the other one named Moose. They're the ones that really pushed it to the level that it is today. They pushed it to the point where it was in everything. It was in carnival, it was in weddings, it was in funerals, it was in any kind of celebration, you name it, Moko Jumbie was present. Kai Soka Moko Jumbies, we are the USA branch of Kai Soka. It's a branch that was started in Trinidad and Tobago by my mentor, Junior Bisnut. I learned a lot from Mr. Bisnut. So after learning so much, and I decided to start my own group here in New York, I decided to call it Kai Soka and put the USA at the end of it. We're here to provide not just stilt dances for carnivals and different events in New York, but we're also here to teach the culture of stilt dancing. To the kids, to the young adults, to anybody that's willing to learn, we're here to teach that culture to those individuals. Definitely there's a lack of teaching of the culture in the schools, in the community, in different parts of not just New York, but the United States, different countries and stuff like that, because there's a lot of kids and adults that's becoming Moko Jumbie stilt dancers. There's a lot of people that's doing it and interested in the art form. So why not bring it into the schools? That'd be great if I could have a 5th period Moko Jumbie class where I just don't teach them how to walk on stilts, but I could also teach the kids the culture. That's a lesson plan, and I could teach them how to build the different stilts and stuff like that. When it comes to being a Moko Jumbie instructor, director of an organization, I want the kids of tomorrow, the future, to really take control of the culture. Just don't let it slip by now. I want them to continue teaching and learning the art form, not just the Moko Jumbie, but the mass culture also, because it all ties into each other. Moko Jumbie is one of Trinidad's main carnival characters when it comes to Trinidad Carnival. So I would love to see my organization, Kai Soka Moko Jumbies, in a building, performing year-round, teaching year-round to hundreds of kids and young adults the art form. The reason I started doing Moko Jumbie is because I grew up around people in my neighborhood in Trinidad doing Moko Jumbie. As a small kid, I could remember just trying to everywhere they go, just following them and just wanting to be around them. At that time, I was somewhat too young to start learning with them. I didn't have anybody to really take me to their location, so I was just happy being around them. So I always had the love since small, as far as I could remember. As I came to the United States, I found a group that was already teaching in New York, so I started learning with them. And with my travels back and forth to Trinidad, I met Mr. Bisnut. And throughout the time speaking to him, sitting down by his residence in Trinidad and learning all the knowledge he had to offer me, you know, it just pushed me even more to start my own organization. When it comes to Katie's Carnival, our band, we do have a band for the carnival. That's basically just the kids, ages from, I think it's 1 to 17, if I'm not mistaken. Our band consists of Moko Jumbie sections and also kids on the ground, because a lot of our Moko Jumbie students have little brothers and sisters that they don't want to do the stilts, but they still want to be in our band. So for the past few years, we have been making costumes for kids on the ground so they could still be part of our band. We have placed first, second, and third for a few years. Hopefully we was trying to do that this year too with our theme. We will see what happens. Our theme for this year's Labor Day Carnival is called Fairies, Wings of Love. I decided to go with that theme this year because I wanted to just dedicate everything to the love of culture. So each section would be named a love word. You know, it wouldn't just be called, oh, this is a fairy section. No, it would be called, for example, love, you know, any other word that associate with love and emotions and stuff like that. That would be the name of each individual section. And for the first time this year, we was going to come out with a traditional character costume band for behind the museum. So I have a lot of ideas flowing where we could use the culture of Moko Jumbie into the Labor Day Carnival. We wear colorful costumes when we're performing, sometimes even when we practice. When we walk in the street doing our practice sessions in the summertime, our costumes are very colorful. Sometimes a client or an organization that want us present at their event may have a color scheme that they want us to somewhat be close to in costuming. So we might have an all-white costume on, or pink and white costume, maybe a black pants and a colorful top, something to be close to whatever theme they have going for their event. So in order to become a Moko Jumbie, a stilt dancer, a stilt walker, the very first step is you have to stretch. Before you get on your stilts, the training stilts, the bigger stilts, you always have to stretch. So therefore, you can avoid any cramps or body ache or muscle aches. After you stretch, you would be tied onto beginner stilts. Now these are one of our beginner stilts. Now we have smaller ones for smaller kids over there. So right now I'm gonna show you one of the stilts for a young adult. This is who we would use these for. Now when we're putting you on the beginner stilts, we will put your foot on. We would make sure the stilts, these are a little small for me, but we would make sure this part right here is a little higher up, right underneath your knee. Therefore, you will be more comfortable. This length, me being a seasoned walker, I could still use these, but it's not recommended. Okay, one thing about stilts, you have to follow the instructions of a trainer. So once your feet are on the stilts, we will take strap, as we call it, and tie your foot on. We will tie your foot on, and then we'll take sponge and tie it around your foot right here. And then once both feet is on the stilts, we would help you to stand up and guide you over to a wall or fence, any way that you could really hold on to, and do something we call chops. Now chops is just like marching. It's a 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's the process that we would normally use. Now we would try and have somebody do that for a half an hour or until you get comfortable. If it takes longer, no problem. We will let you be as comfortable as possible. Some people, it could take them 10 minutes. That's no problem. But some people, it might take them an hour, 2 hours, and we work with you. Behind me, I have different heights of stilts. This stilts right here is one of our young ladies. She's been in the group for close to 8-9 years. These stilts, they're about 3.5, give or take, in height. They've been cut down a lot. These are one of mine. They've been going for close to 14 years. So, knock on wood, these stilts have been holding up for a long time. The stilts are made up of wood, of course. The type of wood, it depends on your location. In the Caribbean, they use something called pitch pine. In New York, we use 2x3 studs. These are my Miami stilts. This is what I use for Labor Day and Miami. The color of the stilts was basically done because that was the color of the costume at that point in time. You might see somebody in all red stilts. They might just do it because it's going with their costume that they're wearing. These are about 5 feet, give or take. These stilts, as I mentioned before, the pitch pine, these are pitch pine stilts. These were made by myself and my mentor, Junior Bisnut, in Trinidad a few years ago. These stilts right now are about 5.5 feet, give or take. The sneakers are not screwed or bolted, they are glued on. In Trinidad, they have a certain method that they use when it comes to putting the sneakers onto the stilts. It's something totally different from what we do up here, but Kaisoka, we embrace all different aspects of doing stuff. We just don't adapt to one particular way. You saw the beginner stilts, you saw the bigger stilts. Now I would love to show you somebody on stilts. First thing he's going to show you is chops. And after that, he's going to show you a couple more steps that we show beginners just to get them more comfortable on the stilts. To demonstrate how we do chops and a few steps that we teach our beginner learners and even some of our advanced performers we have on stilts today, Bishmi. So right now, Bishmi is doing what we call chops. He's basically doing leg lifts, marching in place. That builds your leg muscles and teaches you to lift your foot as high as possible. Because when you're on stilts, in order to walk, you have to lift your feet. You could step over cracks, you could step over bottles, branches, anything that's in your way, you would lift your feet and step over. Normally we would do it for an hour and a half, 2 hours straight with all of our trainees, our performers, everybody in one long line in the yard that we practice in, doing chops. When it comes to the weight of the stilts, because the one question I always get asked is, am I too big to do stilts? No. All stilts is made to suit the individual. As you may see, somebody on stilts, they don't ever stand still. They always have to keep moving. The moving back and forth, side to side, is how we also keep our balance. So some of the don'ts when it comes to stilts are looking down. You do not want to look down on the ground when you're walking on stilts, because you want to see what's coming ahead of you. You want to see if there's any stop signs, any wire, any kind of disruption ahead of you. So you always want to look ahead. Therefore, if there's a crack coming in the street, you can step over. Some of the other don'ts is taking it back to the basics. You do not want to not pick your feet up, right? You always want to pick your feet up. It's a habit that a lot of people develop as they get better walking stilts, but it's something that you always have to remember. Pick your feet up, because the one thing that's going to happen is an accident that we do not want. When it comes to Kaisoka being in an event, for example, Wadika's events behind the museum for Labor Day weekend, we just don't send out performers. We have something called a handler, which is somebody that's on the ground that's there to make sure the people on stilts is safe, nothing happens, anything they need is taken care of. When it comes to walking through a crowd, the handler is the person in front of them making the path. So therefore, they're informing the public that we have stilt people walking, coming up. So I would love to talk about some of the do's when it comes to stilt walking. We touched on the don'ts, let's touch on the do's. The good parts of stilt walking. It's a good thing to stretch. It is definitely a good thing to stretch. It loosens up your muscles. It gets you very relaxed and able to dance and do all of the drills, the tricks, and everything that we're doing for the day. Something else that's good to do is have a lot of water. Drink water because it keeps you hydrated. When it comes to our choreography, yes, we do have certain moves that a Moko Jumbie does. For example, we have the stoop. That's one of the moves that we do. We have something called one leg in the air to the side. Those are two of the different moves that we do. There's many more that we could keep going, but here at Kaisoka, we're trying to take it beyond just doing the everyday moves. We love to dance. That's why we never call ourselves stilt walkers, but we consider ourselves stilt dancers, because we love to dance. We do stuff like open close. We have something called a knock knee. We have something called the 1-2 step. So we're not just walking around or standing around, but we actually moving. We even whine on the stilts, if you could believe it or not. So we're not just standing there, but we actually dancing.
Well, as you saw, it was a lot of different dance moves being performed, and so I would say everyone's definitely different. If you might take longer than other people. For me personally, for the moves where I just had to take a step, like with the 1-2, where it's 1, 2, 3, 4, forward and back, I got moves like that a little bit easier as opposed to the stoop and the 1 foot up. It's just, you got to keep practicing it, and you got to push yourself to want to complete the move. Here at Kaisoka, we're not afraid to help people, so I have helped train people to catch their leg, with a little bit of push. But for me, it was definitely, I just had to keep trying it until I could eventually do it. And being comfortable in the group, having people around me just in case I might have stumbled and fall. I knew they were there to catch me, so I trusted them, and that helped me get that move down, and also other moves like the stoop, and just catching my leg in different ways. Just seeing myself progress and get better, and it's just a great feeling, like knowing that you're able to do something that a lot of people can't do, and you could see yourself progress in what you aspire to do. So that just kept building up, and it's something I'll do until maybe I get too old.
How we teach our members is to be able to dance to any kind of music. If it's soca, pop, hip hop, reggae, R&B, country, no matter what, we try to play a different variety of music during practice so the members get comfortable, and if we go out and soca is not being played, they're able to still perform. So in closing, I would love to say thank you to the West Indian Carnival Association, the Bishmi, everybody that's been able to help us at Kai Soca. Please stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Any questions, you can always visit our website, kaisokausa.com. You can contact us there. Any social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, you name it, you can find us on there. Please, everybody stay safe in this current time. We want to protect the culture. We want to protect every individual person because we're all special and we all could be a Moko Jumbie. Thank you.
Jason, you on?
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I think they're just doing their credits. Oh, wow. You guys are all here. So guys, just stay tuned so we can have a chat with Jason and his crews in regards to the Moko Jumbie. Jason, thank you. We appreciate you guys, participating and keeping the culture alive. I am so impressed with all what you guys do. So give us a chance to introduce yourself and your team.
Before they do that, are you able to turn your camera up?
Jason, can you turn your camera around?
Yes.
Okay. The other way. Yeah.
Better?
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
You're good. So, like before, we just want to say thank you guys so much for keeping the culture alive. And this is such a beautiful art form. I'm truly amazed by it. I had an opportunity last Labor Day when we were with Fox News to see this gentleman got on these stilts. So took him 5 minutes. So I'm impressed with you guys, be able to train or to get someone to build that confidence to get on those stilts. I can't do it, so I'm scary. So I just want Jason for you to introduce your team and just talk a little bit about, what got you guys into getting involved with this art form.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jason Edwards. This is Christina. We have Niles and Shane. A little history about Kai Soca. This is going on our 11th year as a group. We all share the love and the passion for being a Moko Jumbie, learning and teaching others the skill. It's something that we grew up loving. I know myself, seeing everybody in Trinidad walking on the stilts, I just grew fascinated with it. These guys and girls could share stories of growing up, seeing Moko Jumbies walking around and falling in love with it. So it drew them to wanting to learn and then starting to teach people how to do it also.
Okay. Who wants to go next? The young lady next to you. Go ahead.
Right. I'll go first. My name is Christina. I started at the age of 3. I first seen my older sister doing it, and then I had told my mom like I wanted to do it. She reached out to Jason, and the next day I strapped up, I started, and the first thing I did, I actually ran. I didn't even walk. I ran, I fell, I got back up, and then that's when Jason told me like you have to learn how to walk before you start running. And then I just fell in love with it after that day, and I realized it was something that I really wanted to do.
Okay. God bless you, Christine. I mean, you fell and you got up and you continue. It's amazing that you did that. I mean, me falling the first time, I was like, nah, that's it for me. But God bless you, girlfriend.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I have a question.
Go
It's
ahead.
Natasha. What advice would you give to someone that has a fear of height, but is still interested in learning how to walk on stilts?
Good question. Well, we don't expect everybody to just not be scared of heights because it is challenging. But for us, how we introduce people to walking on stilts, we start them off short on training stilts, which are anywhere from 6 inches to 1 foot. You know, so we start them very low to the ground. And the more comfortable they get, the higher they go. And when they really conquer that fear, then we put them up to about 2.5, 3 feet and let them really master the art form on that level. So we don't rush nobody into walking tall on the stilts. We let them take their time and we work with them as they go along.
That was a good one. So Jason, when they get on the stilt at a lower level, they still do the chops. You see, I learned something. They still practice the chops, right?
Yes. Okay. Chops is something that as you get to become a professional, you can still use it as a warm-up before you perform or when you now put on the stilts. It's an exercise used to loosen up your legs and just, you know, like besides stretching on the ground, which we do also, the chops is basically a stretch on the stilts.
Okay. Natasha, thank you for that question. That was a good one. The young man next to Christine.
Hi, good everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Niles. I've been walking for about 7 years, and I actually started because of my friend Shane here. We were always childhood friends, and then it was one day I was walking down the block. I believe it was by Freaks Mass Camp, and I saw him and his brother, and I was just so mesmerized that somebody my age knew how to do that, and we were always close friends. You could basically say relatives. So I saw him and I immediately asked him, and I believe it was the next summer. Unfortunately, I came towards the end of the summer, but believe it or not, I started that summer, and it might be a little embarrassing, but it happens to everybody. I was pretty afraid. Jason can tell you, I used to get up on the stilts, and I knew I wanted to do it, but I used to, as soon as I got on the stilts, start crying. But I pushed through that, and I'm here today with the rest of my team members. And
well, I've seen you do some serious moves. So I'm saying you got out of that crying mode and you took it as a challenge and you did well. So I've seen you because you're really good now. I'm saying that because, you know, I'm impressed.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So to get out of that fear, like, did you have to like psych yourself up, or you just say, you know, what was the motivation to you to get yourself to get back up and continue to practice?
The good thing with Kaisoka, it's as soon as you enter the group, you're a part of the family now. So we all like to encourage each other and build each other up, because there might be something that Shane could do that I can't do, but Shane would help me persist through that and get to be able to do that. So that's one great thing about this whole little Kaisoka family.
Okay. Teamwork, dreamwork, support team. That's good. That's good too. That's good. Because, you know, that art form, you do need support. Because I do see that you have, while the kids or individuals are on the stilts, I do see that you have some handlers on the side. What do you call it? Am I using the right term? Are they handlers? What are they?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay, that's good. So has anyone ever, like, I'm going to ask the out of the box question. Has everyone ever performed and fell off the stilts? Like, what is that type of experience like? You know, like, do you just jump back up, or is there some type of steps that you have to take to get back up and start continuing the routine?
Yes, people have performed and doing performance fell for. I myself did fall a couple times doing parades and shows. But the first thing we do is the handler comes over to the individual and make sure they're okay. That's the number one thing. We check to make sure nothing is broken, nothing is swollen, their legs, their knees, their wrists. If they hit their shoulder, we make sure everything is okay. And once that individual indicates that they're okay and they're able to go back up, then we put them back up. But it's more of a, you go down, you just want to get back up and keep going, because doing training, we teach you how to fall to minimize the possibility of injury, because it does happen. So we try to teach you a way how to go down where you wouldn't break any bones.
Okay.
But there's stuff that do happen that's out of the control of anybody. That's why if you ever see doing a performance, there's people that's kicking debris out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's because we don't want the jumbies to trip.
Okay. All right.
Michelle.
That's good to know.
Hey, Michelle.
Yeah.
Good evening, family. Kaisu.
Another question.
Jumbies. I have a question from the Facebook real quick. Janine on the Facebook asks, what were the hardest moves for each of them to learn?
I'll start. The hardest move for me was something we call stupid. I'll say that was my hardest move because my biggest fear was falling back and hurting myself. But as time went on, like, I asked people like that, Asa, like, how can I do it properly and overcome that fear? Shannon House next to me actually did help me perfect it, and another stilt walker. And then, like, I just got more comfortable with it. It's not my go-to move, but it's something that I know how to do.
Shane? Well, the hardest move for me would have been Dead Man. As the name implies, it's kind of a risky move because you're basically making yourself parallel with the ground. So it was a very scary move to learn because you make yourself parallel to the ground. You're scared of falling backwards, and you had, over the course of time of my fellow members helping me and encouraging me to do better, I actually conquered the fear and got better at the move.
The most difficult move for me, I would say, is catching my leg to the side, but with the opposite leg. Because when you first start walking stilts, you get more comfortable, and then you start learning how to catch your leg. But you usually catch that leg with, you usually throw your dominant leg. So for me, that was my right. And then you try to add variations, so then you try to catch your left. But it's basically, you have to learn and rebalance yourself on the other leg now to try to get that balance. So that was probably my hardest.
Okay. Spice, is there any more questions?
That was the last one for now. If you have any questions, you can type it in the Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram feed. Thank you.
Okay. Sure. The next gentleman right next to you, we didn't get a chance to hear your experience, or, you know, how you started into practicing this creative art. So you want to just give us a little bit of feed?
I started, I think, around when I was around 13. I've been doing it for, I started around 10, 11. I've been doing it for 8 years. And actually, that was when I saw that at a block party, and he was like, "Oh, that's pretty cool. I want to learn that." And then we went to one of their practices one day. I wasn't supposed to walk. It was supposed to be my brother walking. But then Jason came over and was like, "Hey, just hop on the stilt and see how you do." I was like, "Okay." And then we started walking around 5 minutes, and I was like, I really like this. And then dancing on it and hearing the music actually like connecting me deeper to my culture and made me feel happy, like when I'm on the stilts. So over the course of time, I just developed a passion and love for it.
Great. So Jason, what are you guys doing this summer? What are your plans? I know everyone is still, thinking about the pandemic and, what steps are you guys taking and what are the kids up to for the summer? Hey, there's another question coming up.
Good question. For the summer, we have a few things planned that we're working on. We're going to start back practice early June. We're going to start back teaching individuals that want to learn, bringing the whole team back out. But we're going to stagger the days. We're not going to bring everybody out on the same day. So we normally practice 5 days a week. So within those 5 days, we probably have 10 Moko Jumbies each day, practicing with enough helpers on the ground. So that's one main thing I'm trying to do because I really miss the teaching aspect of it. The shows are great, the performance is great, but the teaching part is what I miss the most. And then we did something last summer towards the ending of the summer called Moko Jumbie in the Park, where it wasn't just us, but we invited other stilt walkers and jumbies near and far to come to Brooklyn and participate in a walk with us where we walked around Prospect Park. So I'm hoping to do that again this summer.
Okay, there's a question. Where will it be advertised for youth who wish to join?
We're going to be advertising on all social media platforms, our Facebook, our Instagram, our TikTok, our website, which all our social media is Kaisoka USA. You just have to search Kaisoka USA. You can even Google us and we will come up. I'm thinking I might do a radio ad just to have a day or two where people could just come and try it in a park so they could, get a taste of it and see if they really want to do it. And then we take it to the next step. So for the most part, social media.
All right. So that's Kaiso Jumbies on all social media, right? We have 3 questions on the Facebook feed. Cheryl Ann asks, when are you starting training camps for this year? And are you still planning on having sessions in Queens?
We're looking to start early June. I would love to do Queens and Brooklyn. It all depends on how many individuals contact me in Queens. If it's a good bit, then I would definitely have something in Queens and have something in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Hopefully, what I would love to do,
Are you having like smaller camps for individuals?
Yes.
Okay. Make sure you share that information with us.
Okay.
Spice, I think there was another question, and I think we have one in queue here as well.
Okay. Sabra asked, what were your parents' concerns when you told them that you were getting involved in Moko Jumbies? And
My parents?
I guess.
I grew up around Moko Jumbie in Trinidad. So when I was in Trinidad, I lived with my grandmother. So she knew it was something that I wanted to do from ever since I could remember. And when I came to New York as a kid and I saw Moko Jumbie up here for the first time, the year that I was supposed to join, I wasn't doing too good in school. So my mother was like, nope, you're not joining until your grades go up. And that's why I structure Kai Soka around the same mentality. If your grades are not up there, you can't participate.
That's good to know. That's good. That motivates the kids to do their best. I like that. I like that. I know that a lot of athletic sports, I mean, they do have the academic standpoint of it, right? But knowing that this is something that you're doing that inspire kids to motivate themselves to do well in school so they could showcase their arts or craft afterwards. I truly believe in that. I like that. Continue doing that. Is there another question?
Yeah, what about the youngsters? What the young people, the young folk? What did your parents think?
My parents was like, don't fall. Like, their biggest fear was me falling and hurting myself. And I can't do certain things for the rest of my life. Because I did start at the age of 3. So it was just like, you don't want to hurt yourself. And when you get older, you can't do nothing. That was just about it. I did fall, but I still continue to do it. I didn't let that stop me.
Okay.
My parents actually encouraged it, but like every parent, they had their concerns about my safety and just me falling and stuff like that. But my mom is a mass designer, so I've always been around stuff like this. So I wanted to do it, and I went for it.
Okay.
My parents kind of skeptical about it when I first started because I was like the youngest. And then when I first came home with my first pair of stilts, they were mesmerized. And I seen the joy that me doing this bring them and the joy it gave me. So I guess me doing that actually made them happier and proud, seeing me doing something productive.
And I must say, if it wasn't for the support of the parents that we have in the group, we wouldn't be the group that we are today. The parents play a big part of all of our success. You know, the dedication, the coming to practice, the helping out with events, the helping out with carnival, the parents play a big part in that. So when the kids come on board, we encourage the parents to, learn how to be around Moko Jumbies and handle Moko Jumbies, because without the parent support, we wouldn't be where we are.
Shout out to the parents.
Shout out to the parents.
There's a question, I think, in Galaxy 420.
Yeah, Natasha.
Yeah, who's that? Someone wants to ask a question?
Hi, this is my question for a general reading is not so much so into the culture. For example, we see the behaviors when they come out on Eastern Parkway. We see the behavior in Juve. It's like they come out for the good time and not necessarily for the culture. What advice would you give out to the younger generation so that they could be more interested in only participating, but also more about the culture?
Hold on, you were breaking up a little bit there, Natasha.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
My question is this. What advice would you guys give to the young generation for those people who are
I think we're having a bad connection.
Yeah. Try.
I think essentially she wanted to ask what advice can you give the youth to get them more involved in the cultural aspect of the carnival on the Parkway as opposed to just coming out to just see, to just jam and kind of interrupt? What would you suggest we pitch to the young generation?
I think that if we could, my idea for that approach is starting in the schools, each grades. If we could implement or give them workshops so they could see how things are done, and it's not just the youth, it's the young adults too, because a lot of people don't know how hard the mass and the Moko Jumbie is. So it would start there, and basically we would teach them as how we would teach anybody coming on board to learn. We would show them the history of it, the good things that come out of being a Moko Jumbie. Like a lot of our guys and girls, they could tell you they've been traveling all over the United States. There's Moko Jumbies from Trinidad and different countries that's traveling the world. There's Moko Jumbies in the circus. There's Moko Jumbies that get opportunities to do different things. Like, for example, with us, we already did a TV show. We were on Luke Cage a few years ago. We got the opportunity to be part of that TV show. We got an opportunity to be part of different TV shows by doing Labor Day. So we would show them that learning the culture, it's very beneficial, to developing knowledge of different things.
Do you do anything in these schools now at all?
No. We haven't had the opportunity as yet.
Okay.
Everything happens in its own timing. It will happen, I know it. If not by us, by somebody else. It's just, it hasn't happened as yet.
Okay, I'm gonna send you something.
Everything in time.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Hi, Jason.
Hi,
Christina. I'm sorry I missed most of your presentation. I just came off of another meeting. Jason, my question to you. I have seen now that the dancing the stilts has evolved into now in Trinidad. I'm sure you know. I don't know if you remember the dancing swan. Peter Mincha, right? So, how ready? I know some of your people, some of your students are more advanced than the others. How ready would you be to enter like a kind of carnival queen and king competition? Do you have anybody?
We've been ready for that competition. Myself, I've been doing it in Miami and in Trinidad. The individual competition with big pieces and placing first. In Trinidad, I didn't place in the top 3, but I think I came 7th. We were planning on starting that also for Labor Day last year, but we know what happened there. But that's the thing about us at Kaisoka. Every year our costume evolves. So we try to challenge ourselves and our creative minds, and all the mask makers that help us, we like to challenge them to go more elaborate and give us more traditional mask looking materials, because we just don't want people to look at it, oh yeah, there's Moko Jumbies on stick. No, we want people to see that we have a creative side also. So to answer your question, yes, we definitely are ready and willing to take that step.
Yeah, I would love to see that.
Jason, I have a question. I noticed in some countries, like in Africa with the Moko Jumbies, they wear a facial mask. Is there a reason why in America or in Trinidad that you don't see that much of the facial mask on their face? Is there a reason why? Or is that, can you give us a bit of a history of those different components?
Okay, so with the African part of it, the tradition of the African stilt dancer, which is known as a chikaba, is more of a spiritual, invisible, ghost-like being. So nobody could know who that person is. When that individual is getting on their stilts, you wouldn't even see when they're setting up. You won't see when they're transporting their stilts. All of a sudden, they're going to appear and disappear. With the Caribbean aspect of it, I can't really speak too much about Trinidad because every group in Trinidad have their own way of doing things nowadays. But for us, we do wear masks, but if the show calls for it. For example, if we're doing a traditional African performance, we would have on face masks, gloves, fully covered from head to the bottom of the stilts. But normally we don't, because a lot of times people get scared, to be, blunt. A lot of people do tend to get a little scared because they don't understand, like, how are you doing it? And that's their question. Like, how are you doing? You on these stilts and then you dancing, you doing tricks. So to not have people scared of us when we performing, we just decide not to wear the mask.
Okay. Well, I know as a little girl, I used to be scared of, you guys, and when they had the facial mask, I think as I got older, and especially when I experienced it in New York and asked a couple questions and kind of understood about the whole culture of it, I got out of that fear. But I know exactly what you're saying. I was one of those that was terrified as a kid.
So you signed up for classes. Nice. All right. So y'all got to sign up. Michelle, she gonna be out there with you guys representing for the team.
Okay, definitely.
So I got one more question from Facebook.
Yes, someone had asked how many teens you have in the group. I think.
How many teens?
Teenagers. I think that's what she asked.
Yeah, that's it.
The group is mainly made up of. Okay, so majority of everybody in the group right now started when they were pre-teens. And some of them are young adults, early 20s. So the group is made up of teens. I have about maybe 6 kids that's under 10, and everybody else is between 13 and 18. I have about 5 individuals that are over 21. And then myself.
Okay.
Question. Jason, you might have answered this before. Are there any competitions in New York, America, that you guys could? Are there any competitions?
Moko Jumbie competitions? No, not as yet.
Not as yet, but I have a plan.
Yeah.
We're going to talk after this.
Yeah. But I would love to, and not just for competition's sake, but bringing different groups and different ideas together. That's my main thing. My main goal with Moko Jumbie and doing what I do is to take it to the Emmys, the Golden Globes, those kind of levels, mainstream TV, mainstream media, movies and stuff like that on an international level. So the competition is bringing different groups and, not just Moko Jumbies, but people that walk and dance on stilts to one area where we could all interact and showcase the skills that we have and love.
Okay, that's great. Is there any more questions, guys? Is anything on social media?
Yeah, that's it for now. But if you could give them once again where they can reach you, where they can sign up, or your social media handle, you could get them your telephone number, your IG, all that.
Okay, so our social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, is all Kaisoka USA. That's KAISOKAH USA on all social media platforms. You can even Google us, Kaisoka Moko Jumbies USA Incorporated. You will get everything, our website, all of our work that we have done, our interviews that we have did with other media outlets, music videos that we've been a part of. Any questions, you can always reach our business line. It's 347-286-5505. You could text or call our business line anytime during business hours, which is 9 to 5, and ask any questions.
Okay. Well, Jason, we'd like to thank you so much for this Q&A. Great questions, amazing answers. Looking forward to working with you this season in any capacity that we can. Gentlemen, young lady, we bow to you. Great way of keeping our arts and culture alive. Continue to press on for the future. If you know anyone who'll be interested in participating with Jason this summer, reach out to the organization as well. Spice, you have anything else to say?
No, just thank you once again to the Kaiso Jumbies family. You understand? There's family here. You understand? And let's just keep the thing going, keep the culture alive. Thank you to all those that tuned in on Facebook, all those on YouTube, all those on Instagram. Look out for more of the educational series from WIATCA, aka the West Indian American Day Carnival Association, aka New York Carnival. You understand? Keeping the thing alive. International DJ Spice representing here. Thank you to our host, Michelle. Thank you to everyone that signed in to the VIP Zoom. Let's keep this going. And we out.
Thank you, guys. Have a great evening.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.